Have you ever imagined waking up in one country, then casually walking a few steps and ending up in another, without ever leaving your house? It sounds like something out of a bizarre travel story, but in a quiet corner of Europe, this is everyday reality. There's a place where the border between Belgium and Netherlands doesn't just run through streets, it slices straight through homes, splitting living rooms, kitchens, and even front doors between two nations. But here's the question: how did a border end up running through someone's house? And what does it actually mean to live in two countries at once? Today we're diving into the story behind this divided home, the tangled history that created it, and the surprisingly normal life people live right on the line between two nations. Right here on History of Simple Things. This unusual situation exists in the towns of Baarle-Hertog in Belgium and Baarle-Nassau in the Netherlands. Their bizarre border dates all the way back to the Middle Ages, when land ownership was divided through a series of complex feudal agreements. Instead of drawing a clean, simple line between territories, medieval lords exchanged parcels of land in a patchwork fashion. Over time, this resulted in dozens of tiny Belgian enclaves scattered inside Dutch territory, and even a few Dutch enclaves inside those Belgian ones. When modern national borders were eventually established, these old agreements were respected, locking in one of the most complicated borders in the world. Now here's where things get really interesting. In this region, the border isn't hidden on a map, it's physically marked on the ground. White crosses and lines run along streets, sidewalks, and even through buildings. And yes, there are houses where this line cuts directly through the structure. One of the most famous examples is a house where the dividing line runs straight through the living space. Depending on which side of the line you're standing on, you are technically in either Belgium or the Netherlands. It's not symbolic, it's legally recognized. What makes it even more fascinating is how the country of the house is officially determined. Instead of splitting ownership, the rule is based on the location of the front door. If the front door falls on the Belgian side, the house is considered Belgian. If it's on the Dutch side, then it belongs to the Netherlands. In some cases, homeowners have actually moved their front doors just to change which country they live in. Living in a border-splitting house isn't just a fun fact, it affects real, everyday life. Imagine waking up in Belgium, brushing your teeth in the Netherlands, and eating breakfast back in Belgium, all without leaving your home. That's not a joke, that's a normal day here. But beyond the novelty, there are practical consequences. Each country has its own laws, taxes, utilities, and regulations. Things like business permits, store opening hours, and even electricity systems can differ. For example, in the past, when one country had stricter shop closing laws, some business owners would strategically place their entrances on the side with more favorable rules. That way, they could legally stay open longer than competitors just meters away. Even emergency services can get complicated. Depending on which side of the house you're on, a different country's police or fire department might respond. Unlike most international borders, which are often guarded or invisible, the one in Baarle is surprisingly casual. There are no fences, no checkpoints, and no guards. Instead, the boundary is marked by tiles, crosses, and small plaques embedded in the ground. You can literally walk back and forth between countries in seconds. Inside some buildings, the line is marked on the floor, running across rooms like a quiet reminder of the invisible political divide. In cafes and shops, you might even see tables positioned in both countries at once. It's one of the few places in the world where crossing an international border feels as simple as taking a step. You might be wondering, why hasn't this been fixed? Why not just redraw the border and simplify everything? The answer comes down to history, law, and cooperation. Both Belgium and the Netherlands have agreed to respect these historic boundaries, even if they seem impractical. Over the years, the two countries have worked together to manage the complexities, making life as smooth as possible for residents. In fact, this strange border has become a symbol of peaceful coexistence. Instead of conflict, it represents collaboration, two nations sharing space in a way that's surprisingly harmonious. Today, Baarle-Hertog and Baarle-Nassau have turned their unusual geography into a major attraction. Tourists from around the world visit just to stand in two countries at once. You'll see people taking photos with one foot in Belgium and the other in the Netherlands, or pointing at the line running through a shop or restaurant. Local businesses embrace the uniqueness too. Some restaurants highlight which side of the border your table is on, while souvenir shops sell maps and guides explaining the intricate layout of enclaves. It's not just a place, it's an experience you won't find anywhere else. In a world where borders are often seen as rigid, dividing lines, this tiny corner of Europe offers a completely different perspective. Here, a border doesn't separate people. It blends into everyday life in the most unexpected ways. A single house, split between two nations, reminds us how history can shape the present in strange and fascinating forms. It also shows that even the most complicated boundaries can exist peacefully when cooperation takes priority. So next time you think about borders, picture this: a quiet home where one step changes your country, but nothing else changes at all. And somehow that makes the world feel both bigger and smaller at the same time. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.